Is the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. They are a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. I am Olabisi Omidire. Today on Corporate Governance Platform, our focus is on the roles of the executive directors as managers of corporate business. Roles of the executive directors as managers of corporate business. My guest is Mr. ABBAS IDIONG, ACIS, Immediate Past General Secretary ICSAN, AKWA State Chapter. Good morning, sir. All right, thank you. And I also have with me in the studio Mr. Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Mr. Ketefe, good morning.
Good morning, BC. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. ABBAS IDIONG, ACIS. Good morning to you, all our listeners.
Let's kick start this way. Mr. IDIONG, who are the executive directors?
Executive directors, as opposed to non-executive directors, simply refer to directors whose roles and responsibility involve the daily management of the company, making executive operational decisions and implementing board strategies. This is as opposed to non-executive directors who don't have a hands-on role within the company.
So what distinguishes executive directors for the non-executive directors?
Well, basically, a non-executive director isn't involved in the day-to-day running of the company. Instead, they provide independent oversight, advice, and supervision. While executive directors are involved in the daily management of the company, making operational decisions and implementing board strategies, they have executive functions, and they are the critical distinguishing factor is that they are employees of the company.
Well, the code provides that executive directors should have a broad understanding of the company's business, in addition to possessing such other qualifications as may be needed for their specific assignments or responsibilities. Why would you say this is really important?
Well, for a variety of reasons. I'll just take 3 reasons. First of all, you've got it aids effective decision making. The comprehensive knowledge of the business helps the executive directors make informed and strategic decisions that align with the company's goals and objectives. Also, it aids what you would call operational efficiency, because understanding various aspects of the business allows executive directors to oversee operations effectively, identify issues, and implement improvements. Also, it aids in risk management because a deep understanding of the business helps in identifying potential risks and developing strategies to mitigate them. So, in a nutshell, those are the 3 areas that you would use to determine how important the understanding of the company's business is to executive directors.
And so why do you think the code allows executive directors to take appointment as non-executive directors in other companies when it is not detrimental to their responsibilities?
Well, the code does this in several ways, for several reasons as well. First of all, serving as a non-executive director in another company can provide executive directors with new insights and perspectives that can help their primary assignment or the primary company they work for. Also, you've got networking and relationships, which will be beneficial because it helps in building professional networks and relationships that could be advantageous for the company. Also, in the area of professional development, It contributes to the personal and professional development of the executive directors, making them more effective in their role. So I would think, off the bat, that would be 3 areas why executive directors can be non-executive directors in other companies.
What is now the rationale behind the provision of the code that an executive director should not be a member of the committees responsible for remuneration, audit, or nomination and governance?
Oh, absolutely. It's straightforward. Number one, these committees need to operate independently to provide unbiased oversight and prevent any conflicts of interest. So if you have an executive director who is essentially the employee of the company sitting on those committees, might be an issue to do with independence of those committees. Secondly, objectivity. The executive director's involvement in these committees could compromise the objectivity of the companies, especially of the committee, especially the area of remuneration, where he could attract a direct personal benefit. Also, it helps in the area of accountability by ensuring that these critical functions are seen by non-executive directors who don't have any skin in the game, as it were, and who are more likely to take an independent and impartial stance. Again, finally, it aids transparency because, it helps to enhance transparency and trust among shareholders and the stakeholders, because the governance process at that point will be seen to be fair and impartial.
It's still ICSAN Corporate Governance Platform on AKWA 89.7 FM. My guest is Mr. ABBAS IDIONG, ACIS, Immediate Past General Secretary ICSAN, IBOM State Chapter, and we're looking at the roles of the executive directors as managers of corporate business. Moving on, sir. Why is the code specific that executive directors declare any conflict of interest and appointment and annually thereafter, and also at any time they become aware of any potential conflict of interest?
Off the top of my head, I would say that this requirement ensures transparency and accountability because regular declarations help in identifying and managing conflicts of interest. Okay? It safeguards the company's interests and maintains stakeholder trust. So I think that would be the reason why executive directors should declare any conflict of interest on appointments and prevent areas where there could be potential conflicts of interest.
All right. So will you say that ICSAN curriculum specifically groom potential members for the role of executive directorship?
Absolutely. I think the curriculum is specifically designed to encourage individuals in senior management roles, including executive directorship, because the curriculum covers corporate governance, strategic management, compliance, and other key areas essential for effective leadership and governance. It also equips potential executive directors with the knowledge and skills needed to navigate complex corporate environments and, of course, drive business. That's why I think it's the ICSAN curriculum is particularly good in that respect.
So what advice do you have for corporate entities and the role of executive directors in their organization? Hello? Mr. IDIONG, are you there? Hello? Okay. Glad you're back. Go ahead. I was asking you what advice you have for corporate entities on the role of executive directors in their organizations.
Corporate entities, corporate organizations should make sure, it's vitally important, it's critical, that the executive directors possess a deep understanding of the business and possess strong leadership skills, Again, regular training and development programs can keep their knowledge and skills up to date. It's a non-negotiable. It's also crucial to maintain the balance between executive and non-executive directors on the board to ensure effective governance and, of course, independence oversight. Finally, a culture of transparency and accountability, especially in declaring conflicts of interest, is vital for maintaining trust and integrity within the organization. So corporate entities are encouraged to do that with their executive directors.
Thank you so much, Mr. ABBAS IDIONG, for speaking on the roles of the executive directors as managers of corporate business. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I had fun. Thank you.
Right. ICSAN Weekly, moving on now, coming over to Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. So what advice does ICSAN have for corporate entities on the issue of board composition?
Thank you very much, BC, for this question. First of all, I would say that the board of directors must ensure that it is rightly and properly composed, just like our guest has alluded to. So when we are talking about being rightly and properly composed, the board of directors must have consideration for factors like the skills that are needed on the board, the need to have requisite number of independent non-executive directors vis-a-vis executive directors on the board, the issue of diversity, among other things. When you have consideration for all these factors in designing the composition of your board, then you are on the right path. I will also advise that the board should also make proper use of the committee system. You know, committee system was developed deliberately in corporate governance to make the work of our board of directors easier and to make it more efficient. Each of the committees is given specific responsibilities. So as they perform these responsibilities, they are giving the board as a whole the time to concentrate on more strategic agenda. So it is helping to enhance board effectiveness and efficiency. So lastly, but not the least, ICSAN is hereby advising companies and other corporate entities to ensure that they get the right structure and mix on the board and in their committees. And more importantly, our institute can assist in this regard by giving guidance to companies and other organizations on the issues of appointment to the board composition, roles and responsibilities of directors, as well as effective use of board committee. Many organizations have contacted ICSAN on this issue, and the institute has always been happy to give them sound guidance on all issues in corporate governance.
All right, and
Thank
for
you
those
very much.
who might need further inquiries on how to be a member, what do they need to do, and the contact details?
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, they can access all the requisite information they need on our website, that is www.icsan.org. In addition to that, they can also call Kayode on 080-3214-7720. 080-3214-7720. Lastly, they can also visit us at the National Secretariat. That's a +6 Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja.
All right, and thank you so very much, Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Thank you for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Well, this is about it on today's edition of ICSAN Corporate Governance Platform. On Equator 9.7 FM, we took a look at the roles of the executive directors as managers of corporate business with Mr. ABBAS IDIONG, ACIS. He is the immediate past General Secretary, ICSAN, IBOM State Chapter. My name is Olabisi Omidiri. Do tune in same time next Wednesday for another edition of ICSAN Corporate Governance Platform.